everyone, I'm Buster Green. Welcome to the 5th Battle Circuit Deep Dive video. And you might be surprised that I'm already putting out the Deep Dive video. Traditionally, when I do a Battle Circuit, I also do a replay where I try to crunch my time to under 20 minutes. But this time around, the Christmas holidays have my schedule a little bit tied up. And also, this time, even on my first completely blind run, I was able to beat this Battle Circuit in under 23 minutes. In fact, I beat most of the laps the first time I did them, and I beat them with really good times. So I have to attribute this to a couple of factors. Here's the overall rundown. This time around, shooters were the focus, and in general, using a shooter is, in my opinion, the easiest way to play this game. Now, it's not often the most satisfying way, but it's definitely the easiest way. And to top it off, the enemies in the stage consisted of a strike IWSP who could one-shot kill you in the head with a particularly long-range cannon, but that almost never happened to me except the 2 times it did. And otherwise, the grunt enemies in the stage were completely worthless. Now, in the same boat, the final boss of this battle circuit is the Wing Zero Custom. But by and large, this Wing Zero Custom chooses not to attack you. Its overall program seems to be get up right next to you and unleash the Lighthouse Cannon. Now, if you're any good about running away, this gives you a huge opportunity to just run circles around this thing until it releases the absolute death that it's holding on to. But on a related note, Wing Zero is really only holding the Lighthouse Cannon as its trump card. I think in the rounds where the stats are tweaked or the EX skills don't work, it basically has nothing it can do to stop you. So yeah, easiest battle circuit ever. The only real problem is the suit that you're using, and hopefully it has enough firepower to get the job done. Now, after reviewing my own runs, I'll say the only problem I really had was round 2 and round 11, using the 4 Forest word tag. That word tag is typically only used on weaker or melee units, so that tripped me up a lot, and it led to my worst times in the circuit. But otherwise, the circuit was a pretty entirely easy ride. Now, as usual, I'm going to recommend trying to ration out your builds. In the first round, use your 20th worst build, and in round 20, use your best build. Now, the strategy sometimes has had some quirks in it due to melee and shooter builds being ranked differently, but this time around, since almost every stage is a shooter stage, this is definitely the way you're going to want to take this. Okay, so let's get into it. Round 1. Round 1 was a completely average build that surprisingly got me through this battle without any problems. It has no special tags and it has bare minimum stats. Now the unicorn legs do the most for its stats, and the cardigan backpack here gives it a solid EX skill. Now the turn A chest is your kill move, and it just waits to click in and kill Wing Zero. Then everything else here just worked out. Nickname, perfectly average shooter Gundam. Round 2 for Forest. Okay, so round 2 was the first time I got stuck with 4 Forest in this battle circuit, which, as I mentioned, is the worst trap this battle circuit has set up. Since it was only round 2 though, I actually put together a melee unit, and this is my only melee unit of this entire battle circuit. Anyway, it worked. Nickname, traditional melee Barbatos. Round 3, Skillhack mode. This one took me a little bit to put together, but I assembled something pretty brilliant here. Now, I'm using a lot of strong but average parts here, and they combine to make a totally average Gundam. The EX skills are nothing special, because Skillhack shuts them down. But this one does just enough with the stats, and it has the altered beam bazooka. So, nickname, Powered Wing Red Sweater. Round 4, Advanced Beam Mode. Alright, so I put together another strong but average build here. The altered unicorn legs came in handy, and the most useful thing about this build is the Jag Doga's Mega Gatling Gun. I only wish that could hit harder, but on the bright side, it refreshes a lot. So even though it doesn't have any killing power, it refreshes enough time to get me through the stage. I also brought along the Quebli's Funnel and the Axis Swords, but in the long run, they didn't help me out that much. Nickname here, Queb Hayaku Baby. Round 5, A6L mode. Okay, now this is where things start to take an interesting turn. I put a little bit more into my stats, and this round I was able to make a completely vicious rapid physical shooter here. Now I also used the terrible funnels, but they took about a minute to actually fire. So I'm owing most of my victory here to the Sazabi's missile shield. I also used the Cardigan's beam gatlings to keep the damage hot. Nickname, Cardigan Sazabi Gundam. Round 6, Switch Mode. So, as with the previous weeks, I put together another hot Scramble Gundam build. Because the Scramble Gundam has awesome EX skills, and it also has some of the highest shot defense you can get on a cheap unit. But unfortunately, like my previous builds, this build is completely dependent on whether or not you can get Rampage to connect. Now, my first run, I missed it, and that directly led to my death a few seconds later. Now, I'm starting to think that when you're using Rampage, the farther back you are, the better your odds of living are. Anyway, that's my guess. Nickname, Lanky Kong Scramble Gundam. Round 7, Advanced Physical Mode. Alright, so as usual, Physical Mode brings out my Trollbarden. And I used a bunch of classic parts here. Again, I'm mostly depending on the Tauzi's chest launcher again, but I'm also rocking Bump of the Living Dead as a finishing move. Now, between the two of those, you're set. I did manage to get high firepower off again, and that got me a good stat boost. Nickname, Troa has guns on his chest. Round 8, Long Range Mode. Now, I completely love this build. It's very similar to an older long range build I made last season, but now it's something of an absolute high mobility Zaku, Mudrock, Kit Bash, and I kind of feel like it's starting to become its own thing. Anyway, I just love it. Nickname, High Mobility Saikamu Zaku Cannon Type. Round 9, Overdrive Mode 1. Now, Round 9 really messed me up, because I fucking suck at Overdrive Mode. I'm not sure what it is about Overdrive Mode, but it really emphasizes one-hit kills. So I had to make a very serious build for this round. I ended up with a shot attack of over 20,000, which for the record makes this the 4th strongest build I used in the entire circuit. Now, I used a lot of high new parts, which in retrospect, I should have pushed farther, but I don't think I had the money to. I also used the Maxter legs, which are surprisingly useful if you can use them perfectly. Nickname, High New Revolver. Round 10, Advanced EX Skill Mode. Now, I put together a totally average build, and it's literally all about the Composite Armor Rapid Shield skill. I also had another Strike Claw as an alternative weapon, and the Twin Satellite Cannon here as a final EX skill move. But otherwise, this was just another smooth run. Nickname here, Strike Banshee. Round 11, For Forest number 2. Okay, so lap 11 ended up being the worst build I made in this entire battle circuit. Now, it's a borderline melee build, and my time here was really bad. I stubbornly pushed this one through because I just didn't have any other good parts that could flip on for Forest. And unfortunately for Forest, creates such a bad situation because all the parts utilizing it are either weak mass production parts or melee parts. So go figure. Honestly, I know this build sucks and I consider it kind of a complete failure. Now, I recommend you guys keep the Gaia parts, but if you're putting something together yourself, don't use the unicorn arms and don't use the Tryon torso. Those can probably be swapped out for literally anything with a decent shot attack, and you're going to be okay. Nickname, Gaia Joe Pesci Gundam. Round 12, Skillhack Round 2. Okay, now since the EX skills don't work here, I put together a super fun build centered around the Altered Tallgeese 3-head, and the Zagak legs, which I red subparted over the otherwise useless but melee-centric quantity legs. Now, it was a little tricky setting up the buffs here without getting shot, but once I pulled that off, this was a completely easy ride. Nickname, Tall Z Wings Gundam. Round 13, Advanced Beam Mode 2. Now, I love how brutal this thing looks. It's got funnels, it's got the Zaku 3's waist gun, and somehow all the parts I used were either Neo Zeon themed or otherwise from the Gundam XX. Anyway, great build, one of my favorites. It's all about using funnels efficiently. It's a Kshatriya Gundam DX mashup, so I don't know, nicknames Kshatriya Gundam DX. It's all about using funnels efficiently, and it just has a million fucking funnels to kill everything. Alright, round 14, A6L2. So even more Kshatriya parts came out here, but this time around I had to build a physical shooter. I used the Gabara Tetra's autocannon as my main move, and I was worried that was going to be too weak, but because the stats on this build were so high, it was actually surprisingly reliable, and I didn't expect it to work out, but it did. I also brought along the full Army Unicorn's backpack, which is really unreliable, but I got lucky with that too, so this worked. Nickname, Gerber Kshatriya. Round 15, Switch Mode 2. So, this is the stage I died the most on because Switch Mode messed me up as usual. I ended up putting together a pretty traditional Switch Mode shooter with, the usual parts like Christina and the full armor Hainu, but I ended up having to whip out the Nightingale's shield and the Tauzi's arm to get the brutal amount of rapid shots here that I needed to clear the stage without any problems. Nickname, Switch Mode Full Armor Hainu. Round 16, Advanced Physical number 2. So, annoyingly, Advanced Physical popped up after I just wasted my best physical EX skills on the last round. Fucking Switch Mode. But that was a good excuse for me to try out some new parts and get really creative. So, this is the first time I've ever built an Atomic Bazooka build, despite how popular it is. I normally think it's a little bit unreliable, but when I paired it with the Banshee Norn's base stat and the JM Cardigan's backpack, I was completely set. Nickname, Nuclear Banshee Norn. Round 17, Long Range 2. Now, I definitely wasted my favorite long range parts in the first long range mode, so here I had to put together something that I like a whole lot less, but I guess it's stronger? I don't know. I always hate putting the Command Gundam on things because it instantly makes my build into a total joke. Now, my time here wasn't great either, but I think I got lucky with the Heavy Arms leg missiles, since they have splash damage. I still cleared this one on my first try though, because this build was very strong. Nickname, Fathead Heavy Arms. Round 18, Overdrive 2. So, fuck, I just hate Overdrive. I put together an insanely strong build, and my shot attack was over 27,000, making it the third strongest build of this battle circuit. But even then, this build handled like a slug, and I had a lot of trouble getting through this because my enemies were just so OP, and it ended up being a completely dramatic battle. Now, it took me a bit to settle on the right combination of EX skills for this build, but the Turn X's Carapace launcher ended up being really, really useful in this one. Nickname, Extreme Penelope. Round 19, Advanced EX Skill 2. So, I've had some rough times up till now, and this one ended up being the biggest shocker of this battle circuit. Now, in the last battle circuit, I'd used the Zeta Gundam's arm grenades, and they'd done me some pretty questionable amounts of damage. So I took a risk on them, and I altered them to red parts, and holy crap, once they were altered to red parts, they one-hit KO'd everything I put them on. I literally could not believe it. I cleared the stage in 12 seconds, and that is a personal all-time battle record high score for me. I cannot believe this. I was so blown away. Nickname, Queb Zeta. So, as usual, round 20 brings out my final Wing Zero Full Armor Unicorn Kit Bash, which I've been rocking the last couple of battle circuits. This time around, though, there are some minor adjustments because the altered new Gundam head has come out, and it's suddenly better than the Wing Zero head. Also, Haman Khan is suddenly my best pilot after I made her a red part, and I had a bunch of Haman, so I got her, way up there. Go figure. Anyway, so with all that, it ended up being a really easy run for me. After all the trouble I had getting up here, I cannot describe how satisfying it is that my last few builds just full on clicked into place and made me pretty invincible for these final stages. Nickname Heavy Metal New Wing. And that's that. 5th Battle Circuit in the can. I'm honestly pretty used to these now, and I was a little worried that with the 2.2 update, they might mutate the Battle Circuit into something new, or otherwise replace it with something else again. But for right now, my builds are holding up and life is good. So thank you guys for watching my stream. I hope you guys liked it, and please like and subscribe and comment on this video. Let me know if you guys have had any trouble beating this battle circuit, or if you managed to do it already. If you are having trouble, let me know what you're having trouble with. I know my builds are a little overpowered, but that's because I've been doing these battle circuits for the past 10 weeks, and I've kind of built up the parts that I keep repeatedly using. But I can totally help you guys figure out some strategies if you guys get stuck anywhere. Anyway, this was Gundam Build Guide. Thanks for watching, and I hope to catch you guys next time. Peace out. Bye!